Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day out there. What are we trying out today? Well, we're trying out the new BB Tubes plugin from Waves that just came out today, and it is a dual stage saturation plugin, which seems to be the real flavor of the month at the moment. Acoustic Audio just dropped their dual staged Diamond Dynamic saturator on Friday, and Kush dropped their LG Drive tube saturation plugin on Friday as well. And then last month, a month or two ago, we had the Plugin Alliance, the Oven come out, which is a multi-stage saturation plugin as well. Just interesting to see all the major players kind of doing the same thing. So a bit interesting as to why. But yeah, saturation's a lot of fun, and this thing's getting a lot of hype. Lots of hype online about it. And the testimonials on Waves website is a literal who's who of recording and mixing world. Everybody seems to love this plugin from what the testimonials say. Yeah, Waves. What do we know about Waves? Waves is one of the OGs in the plugin game. They've been around for going on 30 years and make lots and lots of great plugins and continually putting out great stuff and some really creative stuff I found. Since the introduction of their Signature Series stuff with Tony Maserati and then the CLA stuff and right through their list, Brower Motion, the Shep's Parallel Particles, so many great, cool plugins, and they sound good, and they have great functionality. So Waves is a major player for a reason. If you haven't been on the channel before, I haven't tried this at all yet, so this is a real-time discovery process, and seeing how this thing sounds and what we can get up to with it. Part of the real-time discovery process, before I even hit play, there's just things that I want to see in a plugin, things that are based around what my workflow is and what I like out of plugins. I have a big focus on functionality, a big focus on workflow and creativity, and I want that out of the tools that I'm using. So I have a bit of a checklist that I go through. It's my own little nerdy checklist. We'll just dive into it. So first thing on the checklist is the user interface. How does this thing look? This thing looks great. This thing looks like a vintage tube unit, and it actually feels like a vintage tube unit. Actually, I know this is real nerdy, but the traction on the knobs is really great. It feels really firm and solid. So it feels like you're using something vintage. So the user interface looks good, looks really slick. This is a pretty straightforward plugin, so nothing too busy here. And then Waves introduced this a while ago on all of their plugins. We can resize it, which is the next part of my user interface checklist. Can we make it bigger, smaller? So that's awesome. And Waves is going to check so many of my boxes here. Their workflow is always good. Next up on the list is AB and undo and redo. All Waves plugins has AB and undo. Next up would be meters for me. And there's no input and output meters on this thing. We've got a saturation meter telling us how much we're saturating, and we have a sensitivity meter, which is tied to how we're hitting the unit, how we're gain staging into it. So no input and output meters, and that kind of ties into my next one, which is, do I have auto gain on this? Do I have gain matching? And I don't think there is gain matching, so if I'm not going to have gain matching, I really like to have meters so I can kind of quickly see where I need to balance to. Gain matching, I think, especially on anything that's kind of distortion related or dynamic related, is really great to have gain matching, just so you're not blowing yourself up or blowing your speakers up, because that can easily happen. And then gain matching, even more importantly, is just great for creativity, because you can listen in context. You're hearing in context, and you can make really creative decisions because it is in context. You're not making the thing louder or quieter, so you can't make a judgment call on how it's sounding or being fooled by your ears. So that's why I love gain matching. So don't see that here. Wish it was there. Latency. This plugin, it seems a bit different for Waves. We actually have oversampling options. So it defaults at 4 times, and we're running 98 samples. And I'm not sure if that changes depending on the sample rate. Yep. Depending on what our oversample is, depends on how much latency we're running. But even at its highest, at 8 times oversample, 147 samples, latency isn't crazy. And there's also a zero latency mode. So that's awesome. This is the first time I can recall anyway seeing an actual oversampling option. And because we are dealing with saturation and distortion, that oversampling is going to help us clean up any sort of aliasing that we're running into the plugin. So great that they're giving that to us. And then, yeah, the final thing on my checklist is the manual and the quality of the manual. The Waves manuals are pretty cut and dry sometimes. I wish there was a little bit more information in them. And some of them are really great, like the omni-channel manual is really great. And actually some of their like old school manuals, like the C1 and Audio Track, are really, really kind of hardcore nerdy. So if you're a manual nerd like me, well worth checking out. We'll refer to the manual where we need to as we're going. But yeah, so what's on this thing? What do we got on this thing? Well, this is the BB Tubes dual stage saturation plugin. And this is part of their new Magma line of plugins, which there's zero information about what that line is, or that I could find anyways. Not exactly sure what the Magma line is. They're made in Magma plugin. So what do we got on here? Well, we have our sensitivity meter, and this will be familiar to anybody that's used to working with any of their signature series plugins. It's setting the gain staging into the plugin, and this is gain matched. We have the bass relief, which we're going to refer to the manual. What does bass relief do? Controls the amount of bass that is excluded from the tube engine, with a shelf filter set to 350 Hz compensated at the end of the chain. By reducing some low frequency information from the tube input signal, the bass can appear more articulate and at times even stronger. Range 0 to 100. So this is a sidechain into our dual stage units. We have our Beauty drive and we have our Beast drive. And we have a saturation meter in the middle so we can see what we're doing. And some Waves plugins allow us to calibrate. This one doesn't seem to have the little calibrate thing so that we know what we're gain staging to. Most all Waves plugins work to minus 18 dBFS equals 0 VU. And yeah, on the Beast knob, we have 2 stages to choose from. And then we have a pre-shelf and a post-shelf, both on the top end. Where are those? Tone pre, 10K shelf to increase or decrease high frequencies before the tube engine, and then post tone 10K shelf to increase or decrease. Okay, that's great. Or we have our transformer switch as well down here, which is great. So we can add some extra harmonic coloration if we want to. We obviously have our output knob, and we have our wet dry. What does it say about the beauty? Adds subtle tube saturation, mostly the even harmonics. It introduces a slight harmonic distortion, which makes the sound warmer and bigger. And then Beast adds a distinctive saturation color to the signal, mostly odd harmonics. Like the Beauty saturator, it can produce gentle harmonic distortion, but is used primarily for aggressive saturation. Okay. BB Tubes creates a small amount of tube compression and harmonic distortion, even when the Beauty and the Beast controls are set to their minimums. Okay. Turn off the transformer switch to completely remove the effect. Okay, so we do have the ability to because most saturation plugins are processing right off the minute they're doing it, and this is telling you that it is, but we can turn off that effect. So that's great. Here we go.
Sellout for free. Sellout for free.
So yeah, we can see that it's processing right off the bat. We can tell that just level difference, but apparently if we take the transformer out, that changes that. So let's just do a quick null. So we'll do a null test. We have the transformer off. Almost a full null. I can barely hear it. And obviously when we put the transformer back in, it is doing something, but it's not a full null right off the bat. I can barely hear it. Pretty much full. So it's not a true bypass. Maybe if I take the oversample off. Nope, still hear it. Okay. So not a full null, but pretty much when you take the transformer out. Not doing much. So like all Waves plugins that have any sort of sensitivity or input knob, yellow is your ideal, green is your conservative, and red means you're just getting too hot, driving it too much, which we can hear right there. So we'll just get it into kind of ideal level. does immediately just kind of fatten it up in a nice way. Well, let's see what the beauty does. So, no game matching, obviously, but because the dynamics are changing, that's kind of saving us a little bit here. Well, let's just push it all the way and see what we get. Really nice, warm, even as it's getting totally destructo here. It's not harsh or painful anywhere. Really rich, thick. Lots of depth. Let's bypass it. So this is where I want game matching, because just having to do it manually sounds really nice, really pleasing. Everything just kind of stands up a little bit, gets a little firmer, but really warm, clear. Not clear. Let's find some better words here. It's very thick, but it's clean. It's not muddy. Had some nice density, kind of girth, like it's hefty, but very pleasing. And certainly as we push it, it's nothing crazy. Okay. Let's see what Type A Beast sounds like. Definitely a little more aggressive. Nothing harsh. And kind of stays intact even though we're pushing it that hard. Sometimes like tubes really will just start to kind of cut out on you as you really break up. So nothing harsh. Definitely a little more edge, a little more grit on it. You can hear it there. Yeah, I really wish there was game matching. Sounds nice though, really rich. Yeah, lots of heft, lots of density, but not, it's not cloudy or kind of mucking up my low mids, and it feels really firm. Yeah, it feels really, stands things up in a nice way. Okay. Type B. B seems to be breaking up a little bit low, like lower in the spectrum. A, we're getting a little more like high mid information, top end information, a little grittier up there, a little more, I mean, it's not harsh, but like a little bit more sandpapery. similar kind of grit on the B here, but it's a little bit lower. Like, we're not getting all that high mid stuff. Just a little more pleasant, actually, to me. Okay. And we can use them together. I will say it sounds really nice. It does sound really good. So transformers that they do, as they typically do, they add like a little bit of weight, a little bit of thump to what we're hearing here. Take it out, it kind of feels just a little thinner, a little cleaner, but we lose a lot of that like heft and weight, which is generally what transformers are going to do for you. Just feel the whole body come back in the bottom end. Let's try our bass relief out. I mean, this just feels like it has a similar effect of taking out the transformer. All that thick richness is gone. That's the benefit of the bass relief right there. So as you get into more pushing a little harder, that side channel, that'll help you out and maintain some of that depth and body. Okay, bass relief works great. All right, pre. Kind of doesn't feel like to me like pushing into it kind of sucks some of that up, some of that top end up, which is kind of what I would like. Maybe it works better in reverse. Not really. Okay, let's copy our settings over here. We'll put this guy on 8 times. Okay, so we're on 4 times oversample. 8 times oversample. Let's get some of the beast in there. So, as oversampling does, cleans up some of that aliasing, and it feels like our image just gets bigger, wider, deeper, and the harmonic content's richer. Still sounds great at 4 times. Let's take it right off. So yeah, we can definitely hear on the no oversample, just a little thinner, a little more grit, a little bit more of a paperiness to it. Feels a little thinner. And we go to the 8 times. We get all that width and depth back in, and height, and the distortion just feels richer. Definitely doesn't sound bad on the 0 times. Let's see what our system usage is like on this. So we'll get rid of this guy. So the 8 times is a bit of a chunky monkey on the system usage. So let's just see. That's 2 times, 4 times, 8 times. You could hear it just improve there. Each switch we made sounded great. But yeah, definitely using a lot of, I think that's really, I've got a couple other plugins running in this session, but nothing serious, so that's definitely a lot of system usage, almost 20% on the 8 times. So, I mean, that is the trade-off with oversampling, obviously, is the CPU hit, and we're definitely seeing that here. It sure sounds good though, holy smokes. Okay, yeah, let's try it out on some drums. Here we go. Well, that's pretty pleasing. Bottom end tightens up really nice. Whole image kind of like gains a lot of size, density, power. The no gain match is a real bummer. Top end kind of gets really lush. I really love what it's doing to the bottom end. It's just adding a real dimension to everything. Just kind of, I mean, that's kind of what tubes do, right? Just kind of add some dimension, kind of hugs your audio a little bit. Yeah, A's just got a little more sizzle to it on the Beast. B's got this kind of like low end breakup that's really nice, a little thicker. In here, B, kind of the top end closed down a little bit. Feels like maybe it's just changing where the balance of the saturation is taking place. Actually, what does the manual tell us about type A and B? Different harmonic structure. That's all the info we get. Okay, well, that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like we're just getting more top. More push in the top. That's where the top, it's breaking up quicker on the top. This feels like it's a little more focused on the bottom on B. Sure gives it a lot of life though. Let's hear it in parallel. This is a dance I don't like doing that I wish AutoGain was doing for me. I wish I could just be constantly manipulating things and it stay in context rather than me having to like constantly rebalance A, B and like check. Sounds great though. Doesn't really feel like we're getting any sort of phasing in the wet dry. Feels really rich. That's great. Okay. Try that with some guitars. Definitely. Strat on some vocals. Yeah, sounds great. It's really quick and fun and easy to use. The only thing I don't like is the dance, the gain matching dance. So I just got on the bass, electric guitar, drums, and lead vocal. It brings a lot of vibe, a lot of energy, a lot of richness. It definitely sounds expensive. It sounds really, really rich, but clear. Like it's not muddying anything up. It's not doing that, like warm. It's making my audio warm. It is doing that, but typically when people say warm, it feels like you're losing. And it feels like there's a trade-off, especially in your like clarity and in your top end and stuff. And this doesn't feel like that at all. Really, really feels like it gets some life and some attitude, and like some real heft, some real thickness and weight is being added in a really, really pleasing way. Just love what it does to like that kick drum. Just listen to the kick drum. Feels like it's pushing back against the kick. It's just got this real nice thickness to it. I mean, obviously we're getting some level differences. It's not totally gain matched, but you can hear the richness that it's adding, the depth and dimension that it's adding to the mix. And it's just reining in my dynamics a little bit. Just kind of nicely, gently pushing it all together. Which is what you want from analog gear. It's the power of analog equipment, is running it through and hitting tubes, hitting transformers, and getting that subtle little bit of compression and saturation. Sounds great. Okay, I'm gonna try and speed up these recaps. I seem to blather on in the recaps. So yeah, time to recap. What were we checking out? We're checking out the Waves BB tubes. It's part of the new Magma line, which we have no idea what their Magma line of plugins is. But yeah, this thing is a dual saturation, tube saturation plugin, and this thing's got a lot of hype for the sonic quality, and I can see why. I can hear why. Better said. This thing sounds fantastic. Really, really high level of sonic quality. One of the richest sounding tube saturation plugins I've heard. So Joe Ciccarelli, I think, tweeted out this morning, not just another plugin, and that's a lot of hype for a plugin. I think he's wrong. This thing sounds really good. Sounds really expensive. Aptly named Beauty and the Beast. Beauty is really, really rich. Beast, we got two different types of mode. One's A seems a little more up top saturation, a little bit more breakup up top, and B seems a little bit more breakup on the bottom, a little darker. Really pleasing. Even when we pushed everything into Destructo, sounds great. Really hard to make sound bad. And then the mix knob sounds great. Working in parallel sounds great. Didn't seem like we ran into any sort of phase issues. And the transformer, I don't know why you would ever turn that off. The transformer is where a lot of that heft is coming from and a lot of that richness. So yeah, this thing sounds incredible. It really adds a lot of heft and girth to your mixes in a really clean, rich way. Pretty sublime, actually. Things that I like to see on this plugin, obviously the number one thing that I want is gain matching, auto gain. I think I would get way more creative and aggressive with it if it had auto gain. There's been a lot of saturation plugins come out lately, and some of them have incredible gain matching. The newfangled Invigorate is the gain matching auto gain on that is unreal. Right through the mix, like right through changing the mix knob. And same thing with the Spice Rack from Process Audio. Lots of great auto gain there, so you can make really creative decisions in context. That's kind of the only thing that this plugin's lacking for what it's supposed to do. And the CPU hit is maybe the only other thing that's against this thing. Definitely seems to be a bit power hungry, especially as you up the oversampling, which is to be expected, and very cool that Waves has actually given us the option to change our sampling rates on the plugin. Still sounds great in no oversampling, no upsampling. With that turned off, still sounds really good. But definitely if you want to be running it at 8 times or something like that, you're gonna run into some serious CPU hit right off the bat, which is to be expected. That's why you got the options to change it. I guess it would be really cool if something like They had something like in Soothe where you can set it so that in real time it's operating at no oversampling, and then offline bouncing or any sort of processing offline, it can do it at a higher sample rate. I think that'd be really cool, and that if that was kind of a global feature, so I could work with no oversampling on or minimal oversampling, but then when I go to bounce my mix down, bounce it offline, I could easily select all instances to be at 8 times oversampling. I think that's a brilliant feature on Soothe, and I know there's another plugin or two out there that has that as well, and I think that's an awesome feature. So I'd love to see that. But yeah, my only knock on this plugin is the gain matching. We've had a lot of tube saturation plugins come out, and a lot of dual saturation plugins come out lately, and they all sound really good, and this one sounds really good as well. Sounds sublime. It's a saturation in the box that I haven't heard before, and it's at a really, really high level, really, really great quality. So well worth checking out. I don't, no sonic hits on this thing. It sounds incredible. Anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, if you're catching this on YouTube and you're enjoying the content, please hit me with the subscribe button, turn your notifications on, and as I said, if you try this out, please let me know what you think about it. It seems to have a lot of hype for a reason, so definitely fun to play with and great to hear. It's a sonically very, very pleasing plugin. So anyways, that's going to do it for me for the afternoon. I hope you have a great day, everybody. Thanks.